The story I am about to tell you is a brutal one, but it also serves as an answer to the question, who is the most badass person to have ever walked this earth? Well, that answer isn't so difficult. It should be this guy, Adrian Carton de Wiart. Adrian was born in Brussels, Belgium on the 5th of May to an Irish mother and a Belgian father. His father, a successful lawyer, hoped his son would follow in his footsteps and achieve success in law as well. When Adrian was 19, he attended Balliol College in Oxford, or so his father thought. In reality, Adrian was already scouting where he would fight his first war. It wouldn't take long before he found himself embroiled in the Second Boer War in South Africa. In that moment, Adrian had a clear thought. I knew once and for all that war was in my blood. Well, war was in his blood for sure, for the sole reason he didn't even care which side he would join. If the British didn't accept him, he was prepared to join the Boer army. As it turned out, the British thought he was a cool guy, so he joined their forces. Not long after, he and a few other British soldiers attempted to cross a river. That idea turned out to be a bad one. They were spotted by a few Boer people and fired upon. Adrian was shot in the stomach and again in the groin. He had to be evacuated from the battlefield to a field hospital. After being moved back to England, his father found out what his son was up to. It goes without saying that Daddy was very pissed. Regardless of losing his cool, his father said, screw it, and he was allowed to continue his military career back in Africa. Soon after his survival, he was promoted to corporal, but within 24 hours he was demoted again for threatening to bitch-slap a sergeant. In hindsight, he might have better hit the sergeant because for the next 2 years, Adrian would mostly battle boringness with the lack of action on the front. By the end of 1902, he was sent to India, where he suffered from the same lack of action, although he could keep himself entertained by chasing pigs on horseback while shooting them or piercing them with spears. While doing so, he fell from his horse, breaking a few ribs and an ankle. In 1904, he moved back to South Africa, where he was promoted to supernumerary lieutenant, or whatever that means. After serving in the British Army for 8 years, he was formally naturalised as a British subject, swapping it for his Belgian nationality, which is a good thing, just in case you're wondering. A year later, he married Countess Friedricha Maria Caroline Henrietta Rosa Sabina Franziska Fugger von Babenhausen, the eldest daughter of Karl Ludwig Fugger von… never mind, someone's dad. Despite being married, things were looking better for de Wiart when World War I broke out. He was sent to Somaliland to fight the Dervish guerrilla army led by a guy nicknamed Mad Mullah. While cavalry charging a fortress on camelbacks, he was shot in the face 3 times. One bullet took out his left eye, one bullet made a hole in his ear, and another bullet double-tapped the same eye socket. Buggers. But he did get a medal for it, so it was not all bad news. By now, World War I was raging all over Western Europe. Despite having only one eye, he was still looking forward to getting back into the action. During the conflict, he was wounded 7 more times. On one occasion, half of his left hand was blown off. The field doctor refused to amputate his hand, so he tore off the 2 remaining fingers himself. Maybe he just wanted to make a point. I mean, who can tell with this guy? During following battles, he was shot through the skull, which again did not kill him, of course. He was shot in the ankle, through the hip, and in his leg. One more bullet hit him again in the ear, hopefully the other ear this time for symmetry purposes. By showing skilled leadership and undeterred bravery, he received the Victoria Cross, the highest award for gallantry, which kind of figures. I mean, what else do you have to do? Most soldiers who returned from the front often kept silent about the horrors of trench warfare. That's if they were not shell-shocked or mentally disturbed already by the events. Adrian simply just got on with it. After World War I, there were still plenty of smaller conflicts taking place all over Europe. Therefore, de Wiart could just look around to find another conflict to get involved in. The newly independent country of Poland was fighting a war with Soviet Russia, Czechoslovakia, Ukraine, and Lithuania. That sounded like fun for our boy Adrian, so in 1920 he moved to Poland to help them kill some of their neighbors. While doing so, he moved from place to place by plane, which crash-landed. Then he got on another plane, which also crash-landed. Probably de Wiart got tired of crashing all the time, so he decided to move around by train, which was then attacked by a Cossack cavalry regiment, resulting in a fierce firefight. While using his only hand to fire a revolver repelling the attackers, he fell off the moving train, but quickly managed to get back on it. After the Polish Wars ended, de Wiart decided to stay in Poland. The Polish people loved him, and they expressed their gratitude by giving him a big-ass mansion, with a big-ass stretch of land with a bunch of wildlife for him to shoot at. With so many years in active military service, de Wiart was promoted multiple times. He reached the rank of Major General. You'd think this would be a great time to retire from active duty, having achieved so much, without being very, very dead. However, retirement does not include being shot at, so de Wiart quickly moved to England when World War II broke out. During the German invasion of Norway, de Wiart was transported by a short Sunderland flying boat, which was attacked by a German fighter, making the flying boat just a boat. While moving to their objectives, they came under heavy naval fire from multiple German destroyers. The mission, together with the whole British expeditionary campaign, was pretty much fucked by this time. Nevertheless, de Wiart managed to get back to the British naval base of Scapa Flow just before his 60th birthday. Not a long time after the failed Norwegian campaign and his 60th birthday, de Wiart was reassigned to assist the Yugoslavian government with the German invasion in 1941. He was transported by plane, and yes, I can hear you think, this time the plane is not going to crash. Except the engines on the plane stopped working, and his plane, well, also crashed. With the plane breaking apart underwater, de Wiart managed to escape the wreckage and swam towards the coast of Libya, which was controlled by Italian forces. Soon after reaching the shore, he was captured by the Italians and moved to a special prison for senior officers. Basically a regular retirement home, but with steel bars and thick stone walls. Equally depressing. Enough reason for de Wiart to team up with a few other prisoners to prepare their escape. After 7 months of digging a tunnel with one hand, de Wiart finally managed to escape the prison. After doing so, he tried to disguise himself as a local peasant to avoid detection. This plan had a few issues, considering he was 62 years old, had a white-ass skin color with sunburns, wore an eye patch, and was an amputee that did not speak one word of Italian. Good luck blending in with the locals. Well, despite cheating death about 100 times in his life, de Wiart could not stop his inevitable capture. In 1943, the Italians were secretly negotiating a surrender with the Allies, and took de Wiart out of prison to help them out. Before putting him in an Italian tailored suit, he protested, saying, "I don't want to look like a gigolo. Apparently you can shoot this man a dozen times, blow off his arm, and pepper his body with shrapnel. Just don't put him in an Italian tailored suit, or you will hear about it." After returning to England, de Wiart was sent on a plane for a diplomatic mission in China. Weirdly enough, this plane did not crash, for some reason. De Wiart's stay in China was relatively calm compared to his adventurous military years that preceded it. At some point, he was introduced to Mao Zedong, and could not help interrupting the future Chinese leader during a speech. He basically told Mao that he was talking out of his ass regarding Chinese military operations against the Japanese, to which Mao simply laughed a bit. It would be safe to say that could have turned out much worse for him, but again, it didn't. After insulting Mao and taking a shit on everything resembling communism during his stay in China, de Wiart finally retired in 1947, but not before surviving yet another plane crash. When he was asked about his experiences during wartime, Adrian simply stated, "Frankly, I had enjoyed the war. And why do people want peace if war is so much fun?"